how many facial expressions are there?
Darwin wrote in 1872 about the expressions of man and animals. And he realized that going from tribe to tribe, where people had no connection to each other, that he could start into years and years of going into civilizations where people didn't have connection to much of the outside world. He started to write down and chart and dissect the different muscle combinations in human expression, because he started to notice, even if he didn't understand the language, he could see if someone was angry, if they were happy, if they were afraid, if they were feeling surprise, for example. But those facial expressions were the same. So the work that I'm doing, it's ironic because I'm an anthropologist, so I should be looking at culture, right? But the work that I'm doing is hardwired into us. It's the universal language of humans, us as a species. Doesn't matter geography, doesn't matter your age, your socialization. Even people who are born blind make the same facial expressions. It's universal.
Universal, doesn't matter what language you speak, doesn't matter where you're from in the world. We all make similar facial expressions. Is facial expression, do we all make similar body expressions too? And are they different? Facial expression and body language.
So body language varies from person to person. You and your brother could react differently with your body language. And but your facial expressions will be the same.
Really?
Yes. The facial expressions are all the same. So think about it.
So look more at the face, not the body.
Right. So I can talk about body language a little bit when we get further into this. But think about it when you're scared. I mean, right now I'm a little nervous because we've just met for the first time and we're being filmed and this is kind of exciting and I've read your books, seen your podcast. So my hands are cold.
Well, it's also cold in the room.
Right?
I'm making cold in here, babe.
On purpose.
Yeah.
So, but the reality is that the blood, when I'm afraid or nervous, the blood rushes down to my legs and my feet so that I can run. Right?
Interesting.
When we're angry, it pumps into our fists so that we are ready to fight. When we human beings are sad, we cry. When we're nervous, we sweat, palms of our hands and our armpits, sometimes on the brow,
face,
right?
yeah.
When we're aroused, the blood pools into the middle of our bodies. We would not survive as a species if this were not true.
Interesting.
Okay, so that was like the oh crap. That was the oh crap, and here she goes. But the reality is that every emotion leads to a change in blood flow and muscle movement in our bodies and on our faces. We have a physiological response to emotion.
So what influences the emotion? Is it a thought that we generate or a thought that we...
Well, that's a really good question. So like if I have a really hot cup of coffee and I touch the coffee, the first thing that happens is I move my fingers back. I don't think, oh my goodness, this is hot with my brain. My body, the muscle movement comes first. The micro expressions precede the thought process. So I can't, even after my years and years and years of training, I can't stop myself from making micro expressions unless I change what I'm thinking about.
Unless you're intentional about the thought. You're like, okay, there's gonna be loud noises. I'm gonna act calm and relaxed, even though my body would probably flinch or react or turn around or see what's happening around me, right? The body reacts based on its environment, sounds, words, expressions, right?
Right, which is why those of us who have experienced trauma, we get triggered really, really quickly.
Very easily.
Right? And so when I said that trauma, you did the rectangle of your mouth, the tendons of your neck jump. That's fear. That's oh crap, right? That's a response. And you pulled your upper eyelids back. Okay, so that's also fear. We make this full facial expression of fear. The macro, we pull our upper eyelids way back. We show the sclera, which is the white above our eyes. And we make our mouth into this giant rectangle.
Why is that?
Okay, so the pulling back of the upper eyelids is so that we gauge our exits. And the opening our mouth into a huge rectangle is so that we can scream for help. And so what I call the oh crap is just that little piece of the rectangle. Yeah, and it's the only expression that makes the tendons of our necks jump.
Really?
So even if I'm looking eye to eye and I see that little tendon, something was unsettling to you.
Now, is this an observation of us, mirroring and mimicking our parents or siblings when we were younger or watching expressions of others? Or if we weren't able to see anyone, would we constantly create this intuitively in our DNA?
All day long. It's
Really?
hardwired into us.
So it's not a mimic. Because
It's
we
not a
mimic
mimic.
a lot of body language
We
and
do.
languages.
Yeah, we mirror a lot of body
Yeah.
language and mirror. And so
We're like parrots, right?
Right. But so if you are really stressed and you come in and you keep puckering your chin because you're having a really, really hard time, and I say, Louis, how are you doing today? And you say, great. I'm like, oh, honey, do you need a hug? Even though your words said great, you're puckering your chin because you're feeling sad and vulnerable, right? So I know that microexpressions are the very deepest of listening skills. Wow. So I see.
You can tell easily if someone's lying based on facial expression.
Yes, because the facial expression won't match the words. So that's what we're always looking at. So for example, if you say great and you show vulnerability, well, you're not feeling so great.
Yeah, you're not.
You're maybe not trying to deceive me on a deep level. You're just trying to kind of fake it till you make it, right? So if you say, I hate broccoli, and you show disgust, right? When we have little children, this is what I call it the no face, but it's got three main pieces: the macro, which is the big expression. It's got the wrinkles next to the nose, the deepening of the nasal labial furrow, and the pulling of the upper lip. Did you have that girl in 7th grade who's like, are you going to wear that?
Course. Yeah,
are you going to wear that? Like, really? So I take the micro expressions, and the way that I have been able to advance the field of science is I teach the one thing that's significant to each expression, each emotion. So with disgust, if you just look for nostril shadows, I speak all these different languages, so my thing is translating. So I needed to take this entire field and teach it to my little kids so they could protect themselves.
Yeah,
keep them safe. And so we call it the no face. And so if you have deep shadows right next to your nose, that's no, I don't want to. That smells bad. I know, that's icky. And the big expression of disgust actually shuts off our nasal passages up to about 80%. That's what it's there for. But we make that same expression when something is socially toxic. And the problem for so many of us, especially those of us who've experienced trauma in our childhoods, is that our pain was intentionally or sometimes not intentionally dismissed. And we have been taught that our emotions aren't real and we can control everything.